in as much as you have support, like this one that you're currently enjoying, you also need a lot of personal work and input you have to put into, creating your own goals of what you want to achieve. I know when we started out in November, my plan was that by end of January, we'll have people having passed the Azure fundamentals. One person has reached out to me that he attempted it but didn't pass, and I've told him he just needs to keep pushing. Exam, it's not a true test of your knowledge. It only validates what you know. So focus more on the skill, focus more on growing your knowledge, and you can get jobs even without certification. I've once had an interview where the interviewer just decided to share his screen and gave me his laptop to work live on the interview. So you know, uh, and so today's class, it's all about data engineering. We're going to be starting off data engineering, and it's really my pleasure to welcome Femi Shobaki. He's going to introduce the class today and subsequently hold the class on Sunday afternoons. I want to apologize for the last 2 weeks. I've had a bit of family engagement. I couldn't keep up with my own Saturday schedule. But my plan for my own session is to delve into AI, because I think we've done the fundamentals well enough. And as you keep, learning the various technologies of Microsoft, these fundamentals will become clearer to you. So I will give the room for Femi to take over. Now, Femi, you are welcome. The class is usually larger than this.
Okay.
It's being recorded, and I will also put it on YouTube for those who have missed this to catch up. But I think on that WhatsApp group, we're over 200. Some people have given up, but the people we are seeing here are the serious ones. So please don't be discouraged by the number. Just the aim here is to just give value to our community. Uh, in the tech space, I found out that support is very important. And I think that for us who are from African background, we should just need to create more opportunities to support one another and create a community, that people can leverage on to grow their tech skills. Femi, you're welcome. Please, over to you.
Thanks. Good afternoon, everyone. It's nice being in this group of futurist people that want to add value to themselves. Thanks. So, like he introduced, Femi Shobaki, and I'm actually a data engineer. So I've been shuttling between DevOps and data engineering role for the past 15 years. So basically, today is supposed to be like a precursor to what we'll be experiencing in a couple of weeks' time, right? So the idea is actually to like share the fundamentals to data engineering, not focusing on the hard parts of it, but like you getting the fundamentals so that you don't get deviated by wanting to learn a lot of things at once, but just picking up one stuff and getting used to it and getting comfortable with it. So basically that's it. So like you said, I work for Direct Line Group as a data engineer, and the role, it's actually cross-functional, and most organizations, as we all know, use various types of cloud platforms. So it's either an organization has moved its on-premise infrastructure into the cloud, in which Azure could be one, or AWS or GCP. So any of these three is fine, because most of the big organizations use one of these. Okay, so what we're looking out for, our focus is going to be on these topics, right? These are what we're looking at. Okay, so the first thing is Azure SQL. Okay, so it is a managed service on Azure for managing your transactional data. So the focus is OLTP, online transaction processing, where we write SQL statements directly to the database on Azure in the cloud. So for this, we can choose to use, if we have Postgre running our system, we can use it, or MySQL, or any type of database should still work in the cloud. Still the same thing. It's just for us to get used to SQL, and that's all. Okay. So that's what this class would entail. Okay. Then the next thing is Azure Data Factory, which is actually used for your extract, transform, and load. So for this, we'll be taking the bits in steps where you learn how to extract data, transform it, and load it. Okay, but in production, instead of using drag and drop tool, we'll actually have different ARM templates, different Terraform scripts that will be calling Azure Data Factory, and we'll be performing orchestration on Azure DevOps. And the tables will be created in Azure Databricks. So in essence, you have a pipeline that is in 3 different services. But I don't want it to look that complex for starters. So it's good we start with drag and drop, right? Just learn in bits. Then we'll talk about some real world use cases, how it's being used. Then the next thing we'll talk about data lakes. So who is familiar with what a data lake is? Or who has used any of these services? Who has used Azure Data Lake Storage N2? Could you just come up and say something about it?
Okay. Data lakes are used to store data that is not in a structured format. So if that data is not in rows and columns like you have in your normal maybe SQL database, you can put that in a data lake. Maybe it's in JSON format or it's just any other format. You can throw that in your lake, and then you'll be able to save it from there. Then you can use any of the tools like SQL database or Python to then go and do your ETL from the lake side. That's my basic understanding.
Okay, that's fine. That's very correct. So usually in production, the way this data lake is usually designed will depend on the organizational need. But most times organizations either use there are different design patterns, but the latest ones are data lake house architecture. Okay. Okay. Um, which is actually have a what we call the bronze layer, silver layer, and the gold layer. Okay, this is how it looks like. So most organizations are migrating to this architectural design now, where the bronze layer keeps raw data only, right? Only raw unstructured data only will be stored here on your Azure Data Lake Storage N2. Then the transform data is stored in your silver layer. Okay. Then the gold layer stores your capital assets, your data capital assets. So what's the data capital? So your data capital is the enterprise data that is used for decision making. So that's what it is. Okay, so this design alone, you saying it in an interview, can distinguish you. Yeah. So even knowing the right keywords to use in your interviews matters a lot. So once in a while, I'll be stating it how you're supposed to say it, so they know you have experience. So next, we talk about Azure Synapse Analytics. So this previous called Azure Data Warehouse. So it's basically used for building the data warehousing environment. So what's the data warehouse? You can tell me what it is. I think the class should be interactive, not only one. I'm also learning like you. So
Okay, so again, my small understanding, the warehouse is where you have your structured data. So if we start, for instance, from the lake, and then we've been able to extract that data and have it in a structured format, that then is moved to the data warehouse so that other systems can then interact with it from that point.
okay, that's fine. Exactly. So that's the idea. So for this one, we're looking at it this way because it's actually a data warehouse. So the data could be real time, right? It can also be in batches, and be batch data. And when you look at the data, you should now consider that data should also have the ability to also use the data for your ETL or ELT or ELT. Okay. So ETL means extract, transform, and load. ELT means extract, load, and transform. So these two actually, ELT is actually more modern because organizations are beginning to see that we mustn't always extract our data and perform transformation immediately, even if we don't understand what type of transformation are necessary. But we can extract the data, load it, and transform it in the future. So we can make an analogy with data in your data lake, where you extract data from um, cars that are parking in a lot, or which the data is being collected from various sensors as the car being started or being parked. So anytime you're in a coach bus, like what was it called, like National Express or any of those buses, those buses have lots of sensors that are installed on them, and they're emitting a lot of data. The buses are being tracked in real time. Whenever the bus stops, whenever it parks, whenever it's supposed to stay somewhere for 2 minutes, all of those metrics is being collected in real time. So for a company like National Express, because they will want to know the state of their data in real time, so they'll be doing extraction and transformation and loading. But for some other use cases, what they'll just be doing is extraction, load, and they'll transform in the future. Okay. Well, afterwards we have a field of CosmoDB, which is a form of NoSQL database on Azure. Then we do some we use the Azure Stream Analytics to perform analytics on streaming data. Right. Then lastly, we do Azure Databricks, which is a managed Databricks service on Azure. And this service is very, very powerful. Out of all the services that I've actually spoken about, Azure Databricks stands out because knowing only this can give a job, but it's also wide because of the things you need to know. So they are the creators of this same architecture, Data Lakehouse architecture. They are the first organization to perform implementations on it. Okay. So, and lastly, we do Power BI. So what's Databricks? Is actually a managed analytical service. So the beauty of it is that we could perform different type of analytics on Databricks, ranging from doing real-time analytics and performing batch analytics. It comes bundled with a couple of services. One of them is Delta Lake. Delta Lake. So what Delta Lake is solving is the ability to query your data, both batch and both structured and unstructured. Basically, gives you the ability to perform ACID capabilities on your unstructured data, which is not available by default. So this gives you an edge. And it has lots of other functionalities. Like it's a very, very big ecosystem on its own. You can do this for 3 years just working on Azure Databricks. It's very, very wide. Okay. Then next thing we'll do some Power BI. And anyone that wants to take certifications can study hard and take anything you want. Yeah, can do some real world scenarios. I will discuss real world use cases. Yep. So that's it. That's it for today. Are there any questions?
No.
Okay. Does everyone have his own Azure like a test account? Have you created your own test account? Because it's obvious we don't have free accounts to issue out. So I think everyone should have its own free account. So I think if you have Mozo, you can create one on it. And I'm sure everyone can create a free Azure account, get a $300 credits and use for the training. If it finishes, you can create another one actually. Right? Yeah. So I think this is the journey. So if there's any other thing we feel we want to add to this, it's fine. But the focus is, like you said, is on Azure, but the data engineering space is a lot because there are different things. The use of open source technologies to other services provisioned by other cloud providers like AWS. They have S3 in place of Azure Data Storage Gen 2. On GCP, you have Azure Google Cloud Storage. For ETL on AWS, you have AWS Glue. So Glue is used for extraction from and load. While your data warehousing environment on AWS is AWS Redshift. Your stream analytics, you have AWS Kinesis Stream and Kinesis Firehorse. Then you also have stream analytics in AWS as well. So I think the use cases are different. So that's it. Not much. So if we don't have any more questions, please set up your AWS account. Does anyone have a problem like with setting up? Or do you have, or are you not able to create because of an issue with your card or stuff?
If it's the same one with Azure Portal, I would think almost everyone here already has one.
Yeah, but the problem, I don't know how long you've been using the Azure portal because the account has a limit of 30 days. So
Yeah.
it
So
might exist.
I was going to get I was
Mhm.
going to get that. I've tried creating a new account somewhere and it doesn't quite work. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. In fact, the one I had in Nigeria, I tried to create the Azure on it. He refused. I think I worked a bit with Ralph on it before I decided to create a new one. Because I couldn't change the payments. It kept pushing, throwing me back to the Nigerian, the card I had one in Nigeria, which obviously didn't work. So I opened a new one. Is there a limit to the number of accounts you can open? Because the one I currently have has expired, so I will need to create another one. Is there a limit? Can I create a new one?
Yeah, you can, but there's actually a limit. But what you can do is you can just you would have to change a couple of information on the account while creating it. Because
That's
as
like
soon
I
as
said.
see
Like I
as soon
said.
as they see the name
Mm-hmm.
that is tied to the account, they know.
Because
Yeah.
I have three already, so I'm wondering where
So
to.
you can, except you use any of your loved ones' account that has an account, and but otherwise you can still try, but make sure that you open it in private mode, the browser. But it doesn't still stop them from detecting it because they are using the name on the card to track who has subscribed before and who has not.
But if it's if it's the same way we were using where you could delete, I mean, I don't mind the extra few pounds every month.
Oh yeah,
Just
so yeah, I would just advise that don't overwork yourself trying to create several accounts. What our advice is follow along with Femi. Any resource we ourselves create, we're deleting them. We're not going to, because for data engineering resources, it's a lot of money. For Azure Data Factory alone, if we spin up Azure Data Factory in 1 month and we don't delete it, it will cost about £800. So even for our subscription, where as the class is ending, we're deleting everything. So if you follow that approach, you're not going to pay in anything much. Maximum maybe pay as you go within the hour you created. If it took you 1 hour to create it or two, you just pay for what you have used within those number of hours, and then you delete. And so in a month you might not incur more than £10 or $10, which I think is still affordable. Is that okay?
yeah, that's fair.
Except another approach is to contribute money as a group, and get a standard account. We set up Active Directory for everybody and run the subscription as a group. But I don't want to go that route of asking people to contribute money for this. So I think it's best that everyone just have their own individual subscriptions. Mm, you manage it yourself. Is that okay? All right. So thank you so much, Femi, for that introduction. You are getting me salivating with data engineering.
Well, but it's still good if they take focus on one area at once and not try to do AI and data engineering and all those things.
but frankly, I would advise that many people as possible should attend this class. From data is the foundation of anything, whether you're talking about AI. There is no amount of models you can train without data. right? And even today, if you want to start working doing machine learning, you need to understand how data manipulation is done. So my advice is that everyone should attend this class. So, and then AI, eventually when you learn the rudimentals, you now learn to use AI to do your work better. So right now we're having AI being deployed to run SQL scripts, or for you to use prompts now to write SQL scripts. All you just do is write prompts in human readable language, and the AI will generate the relevant SQL script for you. But if you need to understand how the data is manipulated in the back end to also be able to achieve that. So I think it's a privilege to have Femi on board. The class for security will start later in the year by June. I've had a conversation with my friend who is a security engineer, and he said he has a commitment now with he's taking some lectures with University of Birmingham, and so he will be busy for now. Just ask that after the next 6 months he can come around. So I want to encourage us, if you know people on the platform, please encourage them to attend this class. I notice people have slowed down a bit. Some people have given up, maybe, but please don't be among those who will give up. Because after 1 year or two, you might ask yourself, why didn't you take advantage of this? Thank you all for coming. So see you again next week, same time.
Okay, just to ask Ralph, so
Yeah.
going forward from next week, I know this is like an intro, so and I appreciate the need to just go through the outline. From next week, how long is this session? 1 hour, 2 hours, so that we can plan ahead.
Maximum shouldn't be more than 50 minutes. Then to max should be 1 hour.
Okay.
Shouldn't be more than that, yes.
Okay.
Because as soon as you start boring people for 2 hours, they're not used to this kind of thing. So making them consume 2 hours at a go is not good.
Okay. Ralph,
Yeah.
are you an AI engineer, Ralph? Or you're a data engineer?
Sorry?
Are you an AI engineer or you're a data
I'm
engineer?
AI. I'm into
Are you
AI.
serious?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were a data engineer.
No. I've metamorphosed over the years. I've been all sorts of things.
That's why I
Right now, I'm
realized with this
into AI.
around different.
Oh,
I'm yet
yeah.
to see somebody.
It's because, the technology keeps, is evolving. For example, I started my career in networking, Cisco, right? I was doing Cisco for a while. Then I switched into data. I went into Oracle. I came out from Oracle, went into, DevOps. Now I'm doing AI.
Okay. That's fair. Well,
But like I said, it's just about taking advantage of what comes before you. What comes before you, embrace it, and no knowledge is a waste. Like now, Femi has given you some tips on even passing interviews, or you might be shocked to find out that as you proceed with this class, you attempt a data engineering interview, and you can just pass and start the job, right? Basic knowledge of SQL can get you a job.
okay.
Yeah. Any other question? Okay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time. See you again next week. I'm going to be uploading the recordings on the YouTube channel. I've missed a few. And then if you know how to do YouTube editing, please reach out to me. Sometimes getting to manage some of the post-class, video edition is can be a challenge for me. But all right. See you guys next week. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Femi. Bye-bye.